This is the Washington Times front page for Monday, July 6th, 2026. Thanks for joining us. I'm George Gerbo. The NATO summit in Turkey this week affords President Trump a rare in-person opportunity to lean on European allies lagging behind on defense spending. Tom Howe and Jacob Wertschafer report Ukraine and Syria are also on the summit's agenda, and the president is expected to hold a high-profile news conference during his 2 days in the capital of Ankara. Trump is set to arrive in Turkey on Tuesday to meet with Turkish President Recep Erdogan. On Wednesday, he'll meet with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and Syrian President Ahmad al-Shara before his scheduled news conference and departure. Zelensky said on social media he and Trump discussed the latest developments in the war in Ukraine and discussed that there was a real prospect of ending the war. NATO leaders will meet inside Turkey's presidential palace complex of more than 1,000 rooms that Erdogan built as the seat of his power. Nearby, at a local convention center, NATO's Defense Industry Forum will take place alongside a Turkish arms exhibition organized by the government's Defense Procurement Agency. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte has billed the forum as the largest industrial event in NATO's history, with allies set to announce tens of billions of dollars in defense deals. Republicans are trying to promote the tax benefits of the One Big Beautiful Bill Act amid a tough midterm election year. Tom Howe reports Senate Republicans have held more than 100 events nationwide since the start of the year to celebrate the legislation as they face a battle to retain control of Congress. The massive law extended 2017 tax cuts and permanently increased the standard deduction for filers. It included tax breaks on tipped income and overtime pay and expanded the deduction for state and local taxes on federal returns. Democrats have called the bill a deficit bloating measure that favors wealthier tax filers and ushers in devastating cuts to Medicaid. Public negativity has lingered. In March, 37% of Americans told Gallup their tax burdens seemed about right, while 59% said their tax burdens remained too high. A wind farm off the coast of Massachusetts is embroiled in a bitter legal battle that company executives say threatens to turn it into a metaphorical graveyard. Susan Ferricchio reports construction of the Vineyard Wind Project near Martha's Vineyard is finished, but is a long way from generating the electricity promised or delivering the output needed to keep the wind farm financially viable. In a court filing, Vineyard Wind CEO Klaus Muller said the project's current average output is roughly 300 megawatts, and 13 of the 62 turbines are not yet activated. Vineyard Wind is suing to prevent turbine supplier and installer GE Vernova from walking away from the project and maintenance contract. The problems include sensors that repeatedly trip, causing the turbines to shut off and curtailing their performance. And finally, Egyptian mediators pressed Palestinian factions last week to endorse a U.S.-backed committee that would run the Gaza Strip without Hamas, but haven't been successful. The Board of Peace, the post-war Gaza authority set up by President Trump, opened a closed-door meeting in Cyprus on Tuesday to consider a strategy it's been unable to enforce. The Wassim Abu Malade reports 6 months after the board was created, it hadn't entered Gaza or stripped Hamas of a single power. The board's plan is to install a body of Palestinian technical experts to administer Gaza, draw Persian Gulf reconstruction money, and stand up an international stabilization force. A few countries have offered troops, and Egypt has agreed to train a Palestinian police force, but the stabilization force hasn't deployed. Find all of today's front page stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page or on the Washington Times app, and find us wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find us on social media at Wash Times for breaking news, sports, commentary, and more. For the Washington Times, I'm George Gerbo.
Summer is here. At Orderly Meds, we know this time is a reminder that life is full of new beginnings. Whether you're celebrating the nice weather, starting a new chapter, planning a vacation, or simply looking ahead to what's next, this season can be the perfect time to invest in yourself and your health. If you've struggled with weight loss and are curious about GLP-1 medications, Orderly Meds can help you learn about your options. Through a simple virtual process, you can connect with licensed medical professionals who can determine whether treatment may be appropriate for you. Getting started is fast, convenient, and happens online from the comfort of home. This summer, consider a new approach to feeling your best. Visit orderlymeds.com/podcast to learn more. That's orderlymeds.com/podcast. orderlymeds.com/podcast. Because every new season is an opportunity to take the next step forward. Compounded medications are not FDA approved. Eligibility required and determined by a licensed provider. Individual results may vary. See website for details.